And welcome back, our dear viewers. Now it's time for our daily press review, and we are delighted to have our dear guest, Ms. Nafisa El Sabagh, the journalist and chief editor of Masriyat. Good morning, Ms. Nafisa, and thank you very much for being with us in the breakfast show. And of course, we'll start with this piece of news about the Egyptian military, which says that it has bombed the Daesh targets in Libya at dawn on Monday. And also, in a related issue, we read from the main banner of the headline of Al-Ahram. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi paid his condolences to the Egyptian nation over the martyrs who were the victims of terrorism. President al-Sisi also announced 7 days of mourning over the martyrs. The head of state addressed the nation, stressing that Egypt will combat terrorism with all its forces. President al-Sisi added that nothing and no one would hinder Egypt from moving forward, and we are seeing now some footages on the screen for the Egyptian army bombing some target for Daesh in Libya after the terrorist killing of the 21 Egyptians in Libya by the hands of the Daesh terrorist militants. Earlier, the president held an urgent meeting with the National Defense Council, this as the official spokesman of the Orthodox Church, Archbishop Boulos Halim, said that the 21 victims who appeared in a video while being slaughtered by the terrorists are those who were abducted in Libya. And we move to Al-Ahram main banner, and we read, before going to this article about Shukri and his trip to the United Nations, of course, the very sad incident and massacre that took place by the Daesh terrorist group, the beheading of 21 Egyptians in Libya. It was a massacre with, and the video which was released showing the beheading and the Hollywood-style release of the video. How do you read all these developments?
I see that it's very sad for Egypt, and it's very sad for any human being who can see the video or imagine.
And sorry for interruption, Ms. Nafisa, but we are seeing here the army, the Egyptian army moving. It's archive, of course, from the dawn mission which took place very early in the hours today after the terrorist attack. We are seeing now the planes moving to target the Daesh sites and places in Libya.
Moving some planes and having some airstrikes is, to me, it's not a solution. Maybe it is something to tell Egyptians that
we have to retaliate.
We have to do something, and we are trying to do our best. But it's not a solution, because those people are on the ground, and you cannot just defeat them from the air. It's the same problem that's happening with the international allies in Syria and Iraq. They are just bombing from the air, and
air bombardment.
The only real victory on the ground was when the Kurds had fought in Kobani on the ground. So either you have some forces on the ground, but it's not about Egyptian forces.
Yes.
I'm talking about any forces on the ground fighting, and you are targeting their places, the places for those terrorists, so it would be successful.
But we used to see these incidents by Daesh, the beheading of the American, British, Jordanian, the Jordanian pilot who was burned to death. But it was mainly in the other side, in Iraq and Syria. But now we are seeing the beheading of 21 Egyptians in Libya. So how do you read that? And the fact that many Egyptians are still in Libya despite of the repeated calls by the Egyptian government for the Egyptian there to return to Egypt.
Okay. We have many different things here. Number one is about the terrorist acts, the beheading, slaughtering human beings.
Why?
So
they are workers who are working in Libya.
They considered them,
Yes.
they did not slaughter them because they are workers. They
Indeed.
slaughtered them because they are Christians.
Mm.
So, and they consider that they are facing a Christian
Crusaders.
war, crusaders. So, if we are talking about the seeds of the ideas of Daesh or all those kinds, all different kinds of terrorists, it's about so many bad ideas in our history. People mixed them up and considered them as religion, which is not. So, if we are not moving towards revising all these nasty history and confessing some nasty stages in our history, Arabic and Islamic history, and then telling what can be continue and what cannot be continued due to the human development, we are not going to succeed. The second point that I wish everyone who is talking about involving Islamists in the political operation to just keep quiet, because it cannot happen.
Let me, Ms.
Everyone-
Nafisa, interrupt here, but Islamists always highlighted in all the international media that it's done by Islamists. It's Islam. It's not Islam. These terrorist groups are using Islam in a very I am speechless about the description. In a very brutal way, they are tarnishing the real image of Islam, which is a religion of tolerance, of accepting the other, of how they are explaining their acts by Islam or by using religion. It has nothing to do with any religion.
It has nothing to do with any religion, with our own concepts about religion. But based on their concepts on religion, it's the pure religion to them. So, you know, this is the problem of our history. You have so many parts in the history, and you are reading some parts and they're reading other parts. So now it's about, you know, refusing, a real and clear refuse to use religion in anything that's connected to running a state. So if you consider this is Islam, it's up to you. I'm not going to discuss or argue with you about which
The real image of Islam.
The real Islam. To me, Islam is something really different than this. But as a state, number one, I need to raise different generations that are really believing that they should not rule with violence. They should not commit any crimes against each other, no matter. They have a state of law that they do respect, and they understand that it will really bring their rights. So it's basically on the internal level, on the Egyptian level. Egypt actually need to declare a state for all the citizens, as long as they are not violating the law. Instead of, you know, being distracted at some point to follow up the personal lives of some individuals, no, please, this is increasing the terrorists way of seeing things or picturing things.
Indeed.
As in Libya, there is another problem actually for the Egyptians who are in Libya. They are more, they used to be at least double or triple the number, that's
Yes.
in
But
Libya now.
many people are refusing to return.
It's not about refusing to return. Many of them are not capable of returning, of moving from their places to a place
Due to the
where
security
they can.
situation, of course.
At least the Manpower Ministry declared that they have 70,000 demand or petition by people in Libya
Who wants to
asking to return. And they were studying them. It's 2
And
days ago.
I believe upon the requests and instructions of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, he insisted on the importance of returning the people, the Egyptians who are in Libya to Egypt, if they are willing to do so. And I believe that even if they are not willing to return, they have to return due to the very critical situation on the ground there.
It's a very complicated, and I cannot, you know, you cannot just go and bring people in because it's very dangerous on the ground in Libya. And you may be staying in a very safe area, but a couple of kilometers away of this area, it's really dangerous. So things on the ground are not, you cannot figure out what's going on, maybe moving also.
Maybe with some arrangements with the clans in Libya, of course, it's, it might be doable.
Still, it would be difficult, so let's not consider that it's going to happen tomorrow.
Yes, but we have to take our steps in order to solve
yes,
this
we
issue,
have
because
to take
we
steps.
cannot tolerate any more aggression against the Egyptians there. 21 victims in one attack.